Sounds so serious.
Okay.
And
All right, cool.
do you want we wait or?
Everybody, I think we can go. Everybody, this is Naomi. She's an absolute genius when it comes to the world of go-to-market engineering. She is the best at finding talent, and she's also the best at telling talent how to position themselves properly so that they work at the best companies. But I'm going to hand it off to her. This is her call. Yeah, you can take it from there.
Thank you so much, Ron, and hello to everyone here. So yeah, I've been recruiting for lead gen agencies and SaaS businesses for the last 7 years, more specialized into the GTM world in the last year. Very simple. How did I end up here? I was looking for leads for my own business, and the guys in lead gen agency, they were like, we're not touching recruitment agencies. So I had to figure it out myself, and I went through the Clay Bootcamp. And just like going into the industry, I had a few friends that had, agencies, and they were looking for GTM engineer. They were like, "Can you help us find people?" And that's how I started. So I worked with companies like C17, Instantly, Growth Today, and many more. And I feel like right now I'm the only one in the world that's really specialized into the GTM engineer job title in general. So yeah, what I would like to be able to share today is really a bit more than just the surface of what a GTM engineer is, because I feel like we all more or less know what it is, but there's so many actual avenues because we can just say, oh, this is, someone that sits in between sales, marketing, and revenue, and that kind of have that engineering background or, touch for technical processes, and that brings everything together. But when you look closer to it, there's actually so much more. And what I'm seeing at the moment is maybe like four paths that are drafting themselves. So first of all, I would say two different paths that a GTM engineer could take. You've got whether going for agency or you go for a SaaS business. So it's really two different worlds. I wouldn't say it's hard to go from one or the other, from one to the other, but it's you're definitely moving in terms of dynamics. When you're working for a lead gen agency, you have a portfolio of clients that you will manage. When you work for a SaaS, where you only have one client, so the depth of what you're trying to achieve, it's more about managing different departments and bringing them all together. But really just starting with the lead gen agencies in general. Um, at the moment, what I'm seeing is three different roles. Yeah, three different roles. We're gonna have like GTM engineers, so very technical, creating all the infrastructure, able like to create some crazy thing on Clay and kind of like able to touch a bit on the automation side. Um, then we're gonna have more of what they call a CSM. So that's someone that is maybe not as deep technically as the GTM engineer, but would be way more advanced on the strategy side and have great communication skills to be able to be client facing and managing, yeah, the accounts for the agencies. So what I see that those guys, most of the time they come from GTM engineer and they kind of like leveling up, and it's their way to level up because the more they get experience, the better they become a strategy. So that's another approach. And then we have pure automation guru expert, whatever you call it. But that guy has the experience of the GTM engineer and as well as internal processes for the business. So here we may be building the processes and the system within an agency, and we just bringing everyone together, making sure that, I don't know, we have a dashboard, for example, for the agency, so we know how much volume's been sent to these clients or whatever. So that's really what I'm seeing right now. There's like in the past I used to get, oh, I just need a GTM engineer, and now I'm getting people that are like, oh, actually I just need someone that is technical, or I need someone that's very good on strategy and that is able to manage the clients, or I need someone to help us just build the entire processes in the business, but really on the automation side. So I'm trying not to go too wide here outside the, let's say, engineer job title, because then you have operations, so different type of job titles in general. Um, then we have SaaS, and that's where it gets interesting right now because I think everyone's getting very excited about it because those guys are throwing big numbers at the moment at anyone that's got a GTM engineer job titles. But what I would really like to say is that those guys are hiring people that have a minimum of 5 to 8 years experience to throw those numbers at them. Most of the time, they're looking for someone that had previous SaaS experience and that already built systems in a SaaS business. Not saying that they wouldn't go for someone that come from lead gen at all, but yeah, most of the time they're looking for someone that had that previous experience, especially on the more RevOps side of things, where just having that outbound knowledge won't be enough to just make it happen because as I was saying, you've got different departments in the SaaS business and you're trying to align everyone. So most of the time you have to align a CRM, you have to align marketing, you have to align operations. So this is where it can be a lot, and that's why those guys offering a lot of number, a big number at people. It's because you have to come in not just with a piece of the knowledge or the technicalities. You have to come in with CRM experience, maybe developers experience, all of that at once. One of the easiest path that I would see if you were a GTM engineer and let's say you've got 3, 4 years minimum of experience in agencies and you're thinking, okay, my next step is gonna be SaaS because I'm I've done it all here. I want to try something new. I would go for companies that are still in the startup mode because you would get the opportunity to learn on the job. Because if you come in a company that is 5 to 10 years old, they already have a lot of system in place, which can be very hard to kind of like jump in and figure it out. Whereas if you kind of building everything from scratch, it's a bit easier here. So this is one of the path that I would see. Um, but at the same time, I'm not saying that this is all you can do and this is the limitation. Like anything is possible at the moment. One other thing that I feel that a lot of candidates ask me about, outside of just the specialization is salaries. And I think we all passionate, but at the end of the day, we have to pay for our bills, so it's very important. Um, but I would say that nowadays, wherever you're based in the world, and I really like, highlight this, if you have at least 3 to 6 month experience on Clay and you're good on it, you shouldn't get anything under $2,000. Because I know like a few companies are still kind of like paying under that and they're struggling to find candidates for the simple reason that you going for a low bracket of salaries. Um, if you have, yeah, I would say very junior, 6 months to a year, we would be like two to 3.5, and then we're going up. There's always exception. Again, I'm saying it because it happens where someone's just like very gifted and it just work out and they have commissions on top and they're making a lot of money. I've got like a lot of friends in Pakistan and all they're getting like some crazy salaries, like 5 to 6K a month. And it's just because they're working hard and they have great tenure of clients. So that's definitely something that can happen here. Um, Anything then that if you were based in Europe, I would say, yeah, I would say you get around 60K in Europe. Um, and you would get around the same in the US at the moment. But anyone that would have really like 3 to 4 years more than that into agency and it's been going through progression in the company can literally go for 80K a year. Um, Anyone that gets more than that will have definitely a background into some specialized industries or revenue operation. So that's really like again, that's a benchmark here. There's always exception, but there's also like knowing your worth and not being too delusional in some ways also because we all have to start at some point somewhere and you have to learn and sometimes we have to maybe drop a bit because I've seen like a few people that had previous sales experience and they had a bigger salary before and now they're trying to make it through the clay world and lead gen. You might have to take a bit of a hit on your basic salary. Um, and then and then you can learn and gain the experience and in 6 months time it would be a different discussion. You can ask for a raise and most of the agencies that I work with they're ready to do that type of move, like you in 6 months time you just discuss and get a raise or if you wanted to move you would be able. um I'm trying to think in terms of I think in terms of salary that's pretty it here. um One recommendation, maybe staying on the salary part. If you are applying to a role and there are commissions, and I know I've made a post yesterday about it, and people have been in that situation, and I speak to people almost every day that share that situation where the commission scheme changed or wasn't what it was meant to be. Um, so what I would really recommend for you is to really probe on that when you go through the interview process, not in like a FBI type of way, but more like having clarity about it, what it looks like. If there's other people on the team, what are they achieving in terms of commissions at the moment? So you know that you have a realistic, benchmark of what's possible here, and then make sure that it's written on your contract. So that's like way to protect yourself. You can never like be 100% protected, but these are way to like kind of have a good idea of what's gonna wait for you once you start in the job. um Now let's say you are a GTM engineer that is very, very new. You don't have yet the experience in an agency or working with a client and you want to break through, which I know a lot of people maybe here are just reaching out to me. This is their situation. Um, First of all, I would say certification they wouldn't be really my priority if I was to try to apply for roles. Like realistically, I've never had a client saying to me, "Oh, I'm looking for someone that has that clay certification." They are nice to have, but they are not like a deal breaker or like a need. Um, Another thing, I would say courses are good. Get one but don't accumulate too many courses because same I've seen some people they just keep getting courses and courses but the thing is you're just getting stuck into a theory world, it's just okay, I know all that knowledge but actually I've never generated revenue with it. So it definitely doesn't help you. um often take the example, it's a bit like if you start a business and you just focus on building a website and content and you're not actually generating any sales, you don't really have a business, right? So it's a bit the same situation here where I would say like definitely learn and watch your YouTube video, go for it. But in terms of like spending money on more than one course, keep your money. Um, then where do you start if you want to have some practical experience? Um, First of all, I still love people being very successful on Upwork, Fiverr, and all, just as a way to start. Just to get like a few first clients, have an idea of how maybe start by selling lists. I don't know, like people are still buying lists in 2025, which is crazy, but you can just start that way, maybe building a TAM. Definitely like networking is important, but I would say take the approach that if I don't know, if you've listened to videos from Eric on YouTube, like you have an idea of how outreach should be done. I would do the same here in a way that don't be too straight to the point, as in don't send straight away like a Loom video. Apart if that person is hiring, I will let Ruan write the family name of Eric here. So yeah, as I was saying, like don't be too straightforward. Like, let's say, for example, I'm reaching out to someone that I've never talked to before, and I have no idea if those guys are hiring, but I would like to maybe have a chat with them and see if they may be interested into, giving me some freelance work or whatever. Treat it as a copy that you would send to a client where you first ask for permission and then you send whatever, a Loom video or whatever, your lead magnet here. Because I know like a lot of founders are getting overwhelmed by the amount of people that are reaching out to them. So you're trying here to be a bit different. Now, let's say that they're asking actually because they're hiring, definitely go for it. But again, I would kind of like tailor my message. And I know like a lot of you guys send me some very cool messages actually, and I will do that. Like I know that some people they've read some of my posts and they're just making jokes, like, and I kind of like that. And I know that it would work with a lot of founders in general. Um, so that's something. Yeah, definitely actually create a project tailored to the company. That can be something also, and that's something actually Varun shared at Clay Club London the other night, where he said that if you can bring value straight away, you would definitely get attention. Um, Obviously not saying like, oh, I saw your outreach is shit or something like that, but if you can bring some good advices and you can show how you would be able to bring clarity maybe in a business, definitely go for it. Like for example, I've got like one of my clients hiring for head of operation right now. Um, and I tell all my candidates like try to, bring clarity. And if you can show them on the first call that you'd be able to create, some clarity, very simple, some just one workflow or process that would help them, go for it. And that's the same here. If you can just bring some value, if you see them maybe talking about clients on their posts, and that's the luxury that you have guys right now, is that everyone's posting and oversharing on LinkedIn. Like I don't know, like if you were doing outreach for another industry or people that don't post on LinkedIn, you have to really go and dig. But here, those guys are sharing every day. Like if you look at Call IQ, whatever, they're posting like 3 times a day, some of them. So you've got ammunitions here to create a very tailored message, maybe create a project that show them like what you're made of and go for it that way. Um, so that is maybe the way I would go into the GTM world. Um, I'm
I
trying-
think another thing as well. a lot of the coming from a founder, a lot of the go-to-market engineers I've been hiring,
Yeah,
I never look for certifications or courses, as you were saying. I really don't care. I don't even care about the amount of time they've been in the role. All I
yeah,
really care about is if I give them a sample task, can they communicate well? Can they understand what I mean by the task without having to ask 200 questions? And can they
yeah,
actually deliver on it? What I've seen quite well for a lot of people when they're getting into this space is, again, as you said, start off by building lists for people. There's an awful lot of people looking for lists in all of these
yeah,
Slack communities, on Upwork, on Fiverr. If you look at their business and figure out what it is they need help with, deliver them a list, but also deliver them a sample workflow explaining you can scrape this list frequently automatically. Just squeeze your way into the business by just wowing that founder. If you can create that wow moment for the founder, it's not too difficult to then
yeah,
work your way into the business. Also documenting your journey. I've seen a lot of people do this on LinkedIn. Just build random workflows that impress people that are overly complex. They don't even need to work, but build something. Well, they do need to work, but I mean tied to revenue. Build crazy stuff on LinkedIn, post about it. Um, if you can't post on, that's actually one thing that I think we might do now, Naomi, is I'll just finish here and then maybe we should handle a few of the questions and then continue it
yeah,
afterwards, just a bit
definitely.
of a break. But if you can't post on LinkedIn, again, Upwork, Fiverr, contact people in all of the Slack groups. Don't be spamming everyone. Don't try and build
Yeah,
an automation for it.
yeah,
Just reach out to people when they actually have a need,
yeah,
and solve that need plus some. Again, it always comes back to value. Do what they're looking for plus more, and they're going to treat you better than they treat everyone else. And that's really it.
yeah.
Um, in terms of questions, so that handles the LinkedIn one. I'll just scroll up here. Um, so
Um,
what is this? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, can I go?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So there are one with the CSM, and I kind of think it's important to talk about it because there's so much confusion around that job title. So CSM is very different if you are in SaaS or if you are in lead gen agency. In SaaS, it's gonna be more someone that kind of like manage the day-to-day questions of a client on a product, whatever, someone that you get in touch when you, I don't know, you you need some information about your subscription, whatever. Um, in lead gen agency, it's whether campaign strategy manager or customer success manager. So it has the same name, but it's gonna be very different in a way that the customer success manager is a strategist here. So that guy won't be creating the workflow or the outbound system from A to Z, but it will take on the strategy. So building the copy, talking with the client, deciding what avenue they're trying to take, and then managing the campaign. So making sure that, okay, every week, I don't know, they're getting how many leads they're supposed to, booking meetings, whatever is the goal. And they will be more or less the bridge between the GTM engineer and the clients. So that's for the CSM.
Amazing.
Uh, I'm trying to.
One other thing that I think might be worth defining before we move forward. People are always throwing around these terms. We've got go-to-market engineer, we've got revenue ops specialist, we've got CSM. How would you differentiate between a revenue ops specialist and a go-to-market engineer?
A revenue operations specialist will really take care of revenue from the moment that it takes care from the moment you build a list to the moment where you might be 2 years in and that person's still in your CRM and you're trying to reach out to them, if it makes sense. So like it's
Yeah.
the whole sales cycle on the engineering side. I'm not talking as in like the salesperson. Um so that would be it. In You would have that communication. So that revenue operation manager would have communication between the salespeople, the revenue, wherever like it's your CRO. It will sat in there. And it will manage that CRM in a way that is making sure that you're making money out of it. And I know at the moment, well, everyone knows that data in CRM is crap. So there's a lot of companies that are actually implementing that or they're outsourcing that revenue side because they know that the data that they have is not worthy. And imagine if you have a company that is 1 year old, the data, okay, it's crap, but it's only a year old. But when it's been 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, this is a way bigger job. And that's why they need to have those revenue operation people coming in the lead gen agency, where I've seen a bit more of that revenue operation type of role, is if the agency sells revenue operation products. So instead of just selling maybe leads or booked meeting, they're gonna come in and implement the whole revenue operation system for companies that are maybe in startup mode, scale up mode, looking for funding, so they're able to build some type of predictable revenue. So again, job titles, I'm defining, someone might have a different definition, but that's really the difference that I see at the moment from what the clients are asking me and which defining with them. Go to market will be really focused on the go to market piece,
Okay.
not the whole ecosystem of the revenue.
So just to summarize,
Yeah.
in the SaaS world, a revenue ops specialist or RevOps person would handle absolutely everything from when the first message is sent, if you're even doing messages, to the CRM, everything related to outbound or marketing and sales.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas with the go-to-market engineer, you're just focused on kind of that outbound aspect, or
Yeah.
you're just or marketing aspect.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
And one other thing also that I'm seeing right now in the RevOps side, and that's where it gets super exciting to me, is that I was talking to a RevOps leader working actually at an agency where she implements systems in big SaaS businesses, and they're creating what they call a predictable revenue nowadays. So we're going further than just scoring leads, for example. They're able to really understand why that lead, for example, didn't reply to you or why they drop, and they creating all those dashboards where they just it's just I would say almost like those big investment firm banks, like Aladdin and BlackRock. They're able to have that visibility where, okay, this is why we didn't sell, and we can predict, and over years we can really get into the depth of how much we're gonna generate in revenue. So very exciting side,
very
actually.
cool. Very cool. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, data is what everyone pays for, at least the bigger companies. So
Yeah.
you can get visibility into
100%.
that. Okay, so another person asked, why would you work for somebody else versus trying it yourself? Um, I would say it's just the same question as whether or not you want to work for somebody else or start your own business. It doesn't really, I don't think it has any effect on the role doesn't have any effect on what you think.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that's the way Anna asked for that question, but it's more, I'm just like, I think what she asked is more, why would you pick one or the other?
Okay.
I don't know, Anna.
Yes, it is, guys. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm currently driving,
Don't worry.
but
Oh
I'm
my God,
listening
be
to you
careful,
guys.
please. Yeah. Don't worry. Yeah, it really depends. I think it's a personality thing. There's not one that is better than the other one. I think it's more of like I'm talking about myself. It's been 7 years that I work for myself. I did a few months in a lead gen agency, and I didn't really like it. And it wasn't about the agency or the work. It was just me. I like to work for myself, and that's who I am. So what I would say is that if you question yourself, I would give it a try, really, because what you got to kind of lose in a way that, let's say you have a job right now, maybe take a little project and see it for yourself. But yeah, that's what I would say. One thing though, if you don't have the experience, I would get like a bit of work for someone else under my wing before flying by myself. I know Ron's like one, one in a million with that. But again, it really depends. I'm not saying like everything that I'm saying is what you have to do, but this is just by experience. I know that just spending a few months in the gen agency really broadened my view on what was possible. And nowadays, the expertise I'm able to share with people and how I'm able to help agencies or candidates. I
Okay.
hope that helps.
Um, Shavam, I hope I'm saying that right. You have a question?
Yeah. So I just wanted to have a clarity over a couple of things. So I started with GTMA as well in last 6 months, and I did the same. I took the initiative.
Yeah.
I built a workflow. I just hit the founder on Twitter, and he liked it, and he told me, okay, let's work for a month for free. So I worked on a month for free. He loved the offer. He loved the way I was working. He initiated the offer, and it's been 6 months, and I've been getting raise as well. So everything is good enough. I'm getting paid 2K right now. But the thing is, right now it's a clay agency, and right now I'm working with him as a right hand. So I know all the backend stuff, like how automations are being built, and I'm also contributing into that as well. So my question is like, how should I transition from here? Should I also get more things under my belt, like RevOps stuff, and go for a SaaS, or or still I should work on another agency and add more value towards them, like in automation stuff and obviously GTMA as well.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I would say like always keep moving. Like, don't wait for anything. Just like make sure that you get mo as much experience as possible. One thing that I would say, yeah, going for such straight after 6 months would still be fairly junior. In 6 months time, you're still junior, really. You've got enough to be independent. And I think that a lot of like founders in agencies and all would be lucky to have you because you're already able to, work independently. But it's not enough for you to be like a proper architect and be able to like build everything from scratch and add the complexity to it. So that's what I would recommend here.
All right, just one last follow-up question. I've been reading your post daily, like your post daily. I really appreciate it. And one of those posts was like about like how we can get more than like 100K plus salaries as a GTM engineer or like RevOps stuff. And in last you mentioned that try to learn how you can build a scalable system, how you can architect it. So I just want to understand your clarity that when you say how you can build a scalable system, like what things you're keeping in mind to follow this, because right now I can only focus on okay, a couple of stuff like integrations with CRM and with like sending with our product team and suppose these are stuff. But when you say a proper infra or proper system, so how we can proceed to it?
Yeah, so one thing that I would say first, if you're focusing on those big salaries, that is like the long-term vision, right? Right now, are you day to day, this is like smaller steps that you're taking. So what I would say is that, okay, one day this is your goal, but right now you have to build to it. And like those guys that I'm talking about that are making a lot of money right now, they have years and years of experience. Those guys, they have like years of experience. Um, One thing that I would say is just make sure that you're working with companies that give you maybe a progression type of opportunity, where you know that okay, for the next year or so you're able to build things with them, because at the end of the day, if you want to build something scalable and durable, it takes time. You can't do that in like 3 months. And that's why like RevOps in general, those guys, they don't come in a business and, have a client for 3 to 6 months. We're talking longer because anything like tied to revenue and all takes a long time to be able to have that feedback and that return of investment. And same if you are in a business, apart if really you're just focusing on doing 2, 3 tasks, in your job, you you don't have enough time in 3 to 6 months to make an impact and to kind of like earn the trust to create more and have even for yourself the confidence to be like, oh, actually I can do more. So that would be my recommendation. I hope that helped. Yeah. All right.
Andrew, you have a question?
Yeah, cheers for doing that, guys. So I had a quick reflection point on one of the ones where you mentioned earlier about being at a startup really helps in terms of developing those skills and having the freedom to do that. I would definitely agree with that. When I went into my previous company, there was no outbound kind of code outbound. I basically built the system and said, I kind of went to them and said, if this doesn't pay off, I'll personally cover it. So can I actually put
Yeah.
your money where your mouth is and said, and I wasn't like, it was like £2,000. I was like, if this doesn't work, I'm eating uh, ready meals for a long time. But I would never, I was previously at PwC, there's no way I'm getting in charge of their outbound. So the smaller company is definitely a good place to start and you get more
Yeah.
responsibility. But if yours there's nowhere to hide. If you mess it up, you're going to get found out pretty quickly. But on the question is, when people are hiring for GTM engineers, are you finding it that they are previously had agencies in and they want to bring it in house, or is this their first interaction? How do they find out about GTM engineers?
So most of my clients right now are agencies. So when they hire a GTM engineer, it's whether they need someone to kind of take on the technical side because they can't do it all, obviously. So that would be like they've been the GTM themselves and now they need someone else to take on that side. Same for bigger agencies, they just know that they need to cover that many clients, so that's why they would hire a GTM engineer. Now, if it comes to SaaS, it's pretty interesting because you're gonna have like a few of them that worked with agencies, and what Clay's been doing at the moment is that they are pushing uh SaaS businesses to get subscription with them because obviously it's bigger
Yep.
subscription. So those guys now have a big subscription with Clay and they're bringing the GTM entry. So you're gonna have um the system that's already built by the lead gen agency and they're just bringing that GTM engineer in. Other way is that you have a company that already was on point with it and they just changed the job title because it evolved from RevOps to GTM engineer, for example. Last one, interesting one. I've kind of like spoke to a few YC founders, and part of the playbook there is to bring a GTM engineer in very early on. So that's how they would kind of like think, oh, I need a GTM engineer. Um, One thing that I would say though, if I'm to hire for those guys, I would only go for someone that have previous SaaS experience to make sure that it works because as you said, it can quickly go very busy, even if it's just a different dynamic. So I would say like SaaS, stay in SaaS. But yeah, that's how I see things moving right now.
Interesting. Yeah, because I thought when even when I was at a conference earlier this week, people talking about SaaS, the GTM engineer, and especially kind of what's a GTM engineer? Like people like talk about Clay, like what's Clay? So even in the spaces where you think there'd be a lot of knowledge, just still be
I
surprised.
I think like there's one thing that needs to be said is that we are in a bubble
Yeah, 100%.
where everyone's like GTM, GTM, click, 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 click. Like I have friends that work for some big, big companies and they're not even digitalized, you know? And I'm in London, UK, So if you know that I've got like friends that work for big tech life sciences companies, they don't have a CRM. And I'm like, how do you even like do BDR? So right now we are in a bubble and we're definitely moving forwards in time, but it's gonna take years. Like if some companies not even like digitalized, imagine the idea of Clay. Those guys need to change a mindset. This is big for them. So yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah. The last thing, I don't know if anyone's got a question, but on that, my previous job, I can't say the exact company, but I think like Google, Microsoft, Facebook, we were partners with them. I showed them Clay things, and their sellers were like, "What the heck is this? Like, this is like witchcraft compared to what we're doing." And these are, as you said, huge companies that you would think in their head that they're still on old like CRMs or just looking at like uh, kind of
No,
Zoom info, etc.
This is definitely what's happening. I had like candidates that I had on call where they're still doing manually the enriching, and I'm telling them, I'm like, okay, if you want to level up, let me show you what you need to do. And they hang up on me because they see clear and they're like, oh my God, what is this? I'm just trying to help here, you know, and I can see the eyes and then they're gone. So yeah, this
The
is
bigger
it.
the company, generally, the more they need to worry about. So they don't have time to be researching these new things, um, which I think is interesting. Uh, Ken, you asked, have you seen any fractional go-to-market engineer roles in companies, or are they all full-time? Um, yeah,
No,
go ahead.
I see a bit of I've seen a few fractional. I know like it's a big thing now because it's just life is easier, I guess, when you're fractional anything. But one thing that I would say, when you're fractional, you have to think that you almost like an agency in some ways, where you still have to manage clients, you still have to win clients. So that's like something you have to keep in mind. But there's definitely like I've seen some companies that just need someone for 6 months, more like projects. So there is that. And I'm trying to think about a way I could maybe help people find fractional job or part-times or just project based because it's just a big mess at the moment. Like full-time so much easier, but like the part-time world is just yeah, it's a bit more complicated here. Um You've just sorry, everyone, but you went through the last question. We went at the last in terms of order of questions.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
going back.
yeah, yeah. I was going
I'm
with the
going
last.
back.
Yeah, yeah. I was going back that way.
I had, do you have proof for this salaries claim? I have proof that this is like the people that I work with. I'm not sure like what Navin meant by that. Is Navin here? Navin's gone. Navin's gone.
No, no, I'm here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I just wanted to know whether you have a proof for the salary claims.
In terms of proof, apart from, I'm not sure, like, how can I prove this? Um, I don't know how to prove that. In terms like
Okay.
this is like people that I get jobs to every day. Like in terms of salary brackets, this is what my clients are looking for, and that's what the market look like. And then when I get people hired, this is how much they get paid. So this is what like the brackets and all that kind of like talks about. It's what data that I've been able to accumulate after like doing a year of recruitment in the GTM world. So
Okay. Sorry for
yeah,
the interruption. Is there any job boards for GTM roles?
you can look on Clay. They have like a marketplace now, but I'm not too sure. I would,
Somebody did make a go-to-market engineering job board. I can't remember what it's
yeah.
called. If you just
Uh,
Google go-to-market engineering job board, you should
no,
find it fairly easy.
it's gtmengineer.replit.app. I think they launched with Centrian something. Centrian.
All right,
Okay.
amazing. Thanks
If
so
you
much.
if you can put in the chat, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Legend.
Who's Eric? We know who's Eric. Um,
In terms of finding like Slack channels where people are looking for lists and things, again, Upwork is the best place to go. That's what the platform is designed for. If you do want Slack channels, like just join all of the SaaS Slack channels. You have to look for them yourself. It depends on who you're targeting. Um, but just be a little bit careful about that. You don't want to turn the Slack into your sales channel. You'll get kicked out. It's not what the communities are for. Just there are in most Slack groups nowadays, if it's in the agency space, they'll have a dedicated channel for looking for roles, looking for lists, looking for whatever else. Um, Anas Jamil, I hope I'm saying that right. You asked, let's say you're good at Clay with 1 year experience. Should I transition and mix with no code automation? Should I focus solely on Clay and become a Clay expert?
go for
Um,
what you
yeah.
like. Go for
Yeah.
what you like, because at the end, like, both you'll get work, So just go for what you like and you'll find something that matches that, because I've got clients that just need people that are hyper focused on clay. I've got other that needs a bit of both. So what I would say is just, yeah, go for what passion you, and that always make work easier in general.
Andrew then asked, is fractional not very similar to an agency relationship? I'll let you answer this as well, Naomi. For me, like my previous business was essentially it was a team of fractional go-to-market engineers for agencies. So we would step in and we would do the go-to-market engineering for your business. Um, how I would define the difference, I would say, is a fractional role generally implies that it's just you and you're working for several different companies. Whereas kind of like a solopreneur kind of gig. Whereas an agency is it's generally a company and you're delivering a service. It doesn't necessarily have to be just you. And that's not a textbook definition, but that's just how I would differentiate them. What would you say, Naomi?
Yeah, no, that's very good. That's exactly it. That's why I was saying earlier, when you're fractional, you have to take in consideration that you're working for yourself. So,
Yeah.
like, whatever peace of mind that you had when you work for someone that they have to go find the clients, you have to
Yeah.
take that on. So you might have less work and make a bit more money, but you don't have the stability that you would get on a job.
I
Also, you
had
have to manage. You're getting 3 clients or 5 clients as opposed to one. You can like sometimes you do make less money per client. That is something to think about. You have to do nearly the same amount of work unless you're very efficient. And so I would be careful before deciding you want to go fractional if that's something you're thinking about. There's a lot of work
yeah.
involved.
I could just ask a question, but on the you mentioned about that kind of commission structure. And I've been in sales before. It's interesting from that kind of SaaS space that people can do like double OTE, etc. With Clay, and because you're building tables, but then someone still has to convert those leads. How does that commission or bonus tend to look? Is it percentage of deal size? Is it booked meetings, or how does that look?
So it really depends. And I can only speak about agencies because I haven't really seen too much of the SaaS commission scheme for the GTM engineer. Um, so there are some agencies that will pay you per booked meeting. There's other agencies where, and that was mostly the playbook in the big agencies like Cold IQ and all, where they had that commission scheme where it was 2% of the client deal, like the client retainer per month, increasing by 2 points every month until you reach 20%. So trying to kind of like encourage for the tenure of the clients. But I know that changed because I don't know who sell a new commission structure to everyone, but everyone's been changing the commission structure in the last couple weeks. Where now it's really tied to, it's not just about the tenure, but they're taking into account also how much volume and results are coming out. So making sure that each client has volume coming, like going out every day, and the results. Um, so that's how it changed a bit in the last few months. But I know a lot of people that had that kind of what do you call it, structure in place, and they were easily doubling the salaries, after two,
Yeah,
3 months, and even going further than that. Like some people ended up with 10K a month, and yeah. So this is what you see at the moment. There's also some agencies, if you're a GTM and they have a CSM, you would have it to split it with the CSM.
yeah,
uh, so that's what it looks like. But again, I would always say have it written down. And if there's someone else in the team already having that commission structure, have a chat with them.
yeah. Perfect. Thanks.
All right, we'll just get through a few of these questions because I'm getting a lot of ones privately as well, and I'm conscious I want to get all of them answered. Um, in terms of Naveem, you asked about what do you think about Clay Bootcamp, and what does Naomi think about Clay Bootcamp? I'll let you answer this, Naomi, but I think personally, just do any if you're completely lost, start with the free ones, then move into the pay ones. If you're in
Yeah.
Clay Club Europe, we've got a discount code for Tim Jakub something's course, and you can get it for nearly $50, which is very, very reasonable for a course. But start with the
Yeah.
free stuff. Nearly everything is available on YouTube. It's just not in one place.
That's what I would say too. So I went through the clay boot camp, but it was more than a year ago. So it was different kind of era. Like there were not as much content that is available right now. One thing that I would say, if you want to be successful and if you have that fire in your belly and that's what you want to do, there's all the information already available. Um, I feel that maybe Clay Bootcamp give you that, or like any type of course, just give you the idea that I'm actually doing it for real, if it makes sense, like
Yeah.
compared to just looking at YouTube video. But realistically, I would say there's more depth in Eric's video than you would find in so many courses in general. Again, not like trying to say the course are bad or anything like that, but if really you have a little money and this you're thinking I'm gonna spend it all on it, keep your money and just learn online.
Yeah.
So
In terms of, so I've gotten a few questions here as well. Number one, a lot of people are asking me, in terms of the hiring side, how should people be looking at and hiring the best go-to-market talent that they can find? So just the opposite side of the spectrum. I think we'll leave that to last because I think it's a big question. Um, then in terms of the go-to-market engineering title, like right now it's just kind of a title, but how would you actually define the skill sets within that? Because a lot of people think it's just kind of clay tables, it's just building clay workflows. What should somebody actually be comfortable doing and good at to consider themselves an experienced go-to-market engineer?
good question. So there's definitely the technical aspect, um, like definitely, but that's I would say almost the easiest part. So in terms of other skills that we may be not looking at that much, but my clients are looking for and I look for in candidates is communication skills in general. Being able to explain some very complex stuff very simply because like you might have like some crazy workflow and you never know, you might have to explain it to a client or to convince your boss that this is the right idea to go with it. How do you do that if you can't explain it and you can't communicate within the team? Or so communication skills 100%. um One thing, copywriting skills, because I feel that a lot of people right now are jumping straight away to write copy with AI. And as much as is definitely the future, if you don't know what a good copy looks like and write it by
Yeah,
yourself, going straight away to AI is just pure suicide. Like I write a lot of content and people are always asking me like AI templates and all, and I'm like, this is me writing. And then I use AI to kind of like structure it. But because I know how to write, I've spent years learning how to write. And that's the same here. Working for some big, big lead gen agencies, I can tell you that the AI might help them just make it clean, but the first draft is manual. So I would say nowadays, if you can mix that technicality, the communication, and the copywriting, you have great chance to be some of the best GTM engineer in the world. Because I don't know how they work in other companies, but like copy is the first thing you kind of like write because you first have like you have your time, you have like
yeah,
the offer of the clients, and then you're thinking, okay, now let me write a copy, and then I would go and find my signals, enrichment on my time or whatever. But yeah, copy will kind of like guide everything you would do. So this is
that's a
something
great
that,
point.
yeah,
I would agree. Most of what I see is that there are a lot of really talented people when it comes to building technical workflows and things.
yeah,
But number one, they can't communicate properly. Like I can't understand them on a call.
yeah,
As a founder, I can't hire you if when I'm explaining something, I'm not entirely sure if you understand what it is I'm saying. And
yeah,
because I don't understand if you understand what I'm explaining. And then in terms of copywriting, as you said, normally the way it works for an agency at least is the campaign strategy happens first, then the copy is written, and then it's up to the go-to-market engineer to then build the workflow to make that copy work. But if you're implementing AI and stuff, which a lot of founders just want to throw into campaigns, again, you need to have that basic understanding of what good copy is. You can't just expect the AI to know that. That's why this industry is here. If AI could write good copy, copywriting, cold email copywriting wouldn't be as big of a thing. It's not that it won't be, but right now it's not there. The other thing, okay, just speed through this. So people are asking about how to join the community. If you're based in or from Europe, you can send me a message on LinkedIn, and I'm more than happy to let you join. If you can add some value, so just let me know how you think you could add some value. If you're not based in or from Europe, I'm afraid I can't let you come in. It's just that's what makes it unique. It is a European group. But all of these meetings are going to be available on YouTube, and you can watch them all there. Yes, Cold IQ gives a lot of value. How much is Clay Bootcamp? I'm not entirely sure, but you can find that out on Google, I would imagine. Would you take a job where there is no ICP? Anna, would you mind just explaining what you mean by this? Would you take a job where there is no ICP?
That's
Anna
backward
James.
now.
Yeah, it is backwards. I had a guy connecting with me asking for a quotation, but the thing is, it's like he just discovered Clay. He thinks that he can make easy money, and he's got an ABM agency, and whatever that means.
He's got an ABM agency and he doesn't know Clay.
No, exactly, but that's his idea anyway. I honestly have no idea how in the world he even managed to get his first clients to begin with. But he made a very Americanized idea of how
I'm not sure if it's for everyone. I can't hear. You're frozen for me, Anna. Anna James.
It's the Wi-Fi connection. She left the place.
Maybe if you can type it in the chat.
Can you still see me? Can you still see me? Okay, sorry. Yeah. It's like I went from Wi-Fi to down. It's like it's one meeting after another tonight. So, anyways, I was telling you, it's basically this guy. He just discovered Clay, and he went. He sort of like did by himself an ICP search, but it's very much Americanized, and definitely not for the Italian market, which is definitely not where I wanted to go and where I wanted to go and throw myself in. I speak Italian, but that's not the market I wanted to go and concentrate on. So he's got everything to start all over from the very basis, including going and finding his ICP, you know? It's like, will you even take this job?
So I'm not entirely sure still what the thing is here, Anna. So they're looking for somebody to introduce them and set them up with Clay, is it? And they
got themselves the Clay account. Don't know what to do with it. Got somebody from Nigeria. Nothing wrong with Nigeria, but they did a very sucking job at it. And basically he was like contacting me indirectly. The deal sort of fell on my lap, but he really has no idea what the fuck he's doing. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. Yeah, what I would do, so this is just you wondering if it's worth your time helping him with Clay, is it?
Well, it's not that. It's like he basically wants everything from the bottom, like building the ICP, building the leads, building the copy, building everything.
If he's willing to pay
for the
you,
cheapest possible.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you can still get paid a reasonable rate that you're happy with, by all means take that position. If he's not familiar with Clay, it means it's much easier to wow him. Especially when you're just trying to break into this space. If you're a bit more experienced and you've got a very specific market, then stick to that specific market. Don't go taking any job you can get your hands on. But if you're just breaking into it, take whatever you can find. That said, if he's not willing to pay you a reasonable rate, then as the same as any industry, don't take him seriously. He's not taking you seriously. That's kind of how that works. What would you say, Naomi?
Yeah, not the same. Like, where would you work for free? Like, I just personally, just the fact that you ask yourself the question, I wouldn't go because it sounds like drama. He doesn't know himself is the boss. He's supposed to lead, you know? I don't feel I would go for it. That's my feedback. I'm a bit like, but it's just like let's say he was working with me and he's looking to hire someone, I would not work with him because clearly he doesn't know what he's looking for.
Okay, great. I think that's all of the questions in the chat. Just that last question about hiring, Naomi. As a company,
Yeah.
how would you go about hiring good talent? What would you look for in somebody if you are looking for go-to-market talent? Because I guess there's a few groups that I'm noticing. There are people who just want to start using this whole new concept in their business but don't understand it, like you were describing, Anna. And then there are people who have a problem they need to solve and don't know what they should be looking for in people to solve it.
I feel it's a bit like a chicken and egg type of like answer here because it's whether like where are you at in your business that you need to hire a GTM engineer is the first questions that you need to ask yourself and see um do I have so much like manually right now, am I just doing too much? For example, if I'm talking like a business that is not a lead gen agency, but do I need to start automate? And maybe you start a bit automating and you're thinking, okay, I'm actually getting a lot of traction. I should hire someone to help me. So that would be a bit the mindset. Same if tomorrow you've got a lead gen agency and okay, you're winning a lot of clients and now you just working 12 hours a day and you're thinking, okay, I've kind of like wrote down my SOPs and all. I should hire someone. So that's like kind of like how I would go for it. A bit the same as like earlier when I was saying what I see a lot in SaaS right now is that they had maybe worked with a lead gen agency and now they're looking to bring it internally. And I think that that would be like the wisest way to do it because in some ways you've already kind of like beat out the market for it and you know that actually outreach is working for me rather than just go straight away and buy all the tools and you've got a nice Ferrari, but turns out like you live in London and there's bumpers everywhere and it's like so that's kind of like personally how I would approach it. And I'm just thinking, for example, me as recruitment, like we had a chat together and we kind of agreed that it's not really worth it for me right now to do anything on the Legion side. And like anyone should kind of like yeah, not fall for the shiny tool. And that's what's happening a lot. I think like I've met so
Yeah.
many people that have spent thousands on clay and tools and actually their market is not even fit for emailing or LinkedIn outreach. So
Yeah,
like yeah,
completely agree. Yeah,
yeah,
there are a lot of people who just like Clay does a very good job of marketing their platform because
yeah,
now everyone thinks that they need to use Clay. There are
yeah.
certain companies that just don't need Clay, and trying to force it into the company is just going to cost them a lot of money. So for any founders in the chat, I would really consider thinking, number one, is outbound already working for me? If so, then explore Clay and how to make it more efficient and work better. If outbound doesn't work for your market, which is the case for some industries,
Yeah.
don't try and force your way into it. Find another way of growing your business. Outbound isn't for everyone. I think that's so. Does anyone have any last minute questions? Or Naomi, is there anything else you want to add before we kind of start wrapping it up?
No, I think that's it. Like I always say to people, if you have questions, just come and message me. I always reply. It's just sometimes I'm a bit delayed because I get so many messages. But at the same time, you know, I don't want to like outsource anything because I kind of like, you know, just keeping it with me. So yeah, just bear with me. And yeah, just I think we shared a lot. It's a shame. Do we have like a transcript or something like that from the call?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
have a full recording. I'll post it on the YouTube.
Okay.
Once I kind of figure out how to send it to everyone, I can. Otherwise, you can just check out my YouTube and it'll be there.
Yeah, maybe I'll do like some type of like an insight, like a document with it. So, you know, the big
Yeah,
points
yeah,
that we've got, we can I can share them with you guys.
yeah. That's a great idea. So, Naomi, where do they go? They go to your LinkedIn. Would you mind dropping your LinkedIn in the chat so everyone knows where to go if they have any questions after this?
Yep, yep. Let me just give me a second.
Okay, and my YouTube, all of my socials end in my full name, just lowercase. You don't need to know how to say it, but that's just the spelling. That's my username.
That's
Um,
tough.
okay, cool. I think that's everything. Did you everyone enjoy the call? Was this valuable? If so, drop something in the chat so I know. We can get more legends like Noëmie on these calls.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy actually because I don't like, I feel people are sharing a lot about the GTM world, but we're not really talking about that aspect of the GTM environment. So I'm glad that I was able to share it.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
That's everything, guys. Thank you for joining. I'm thinking about making the next webinar open to everyone as well again. I'll see. This call was just super valuable, so I had to share with everyone. But yeah, thanks for joining, Noëmie. Thank you for
Thank
joining up as well.
Thank
All
you
right,
so much,
bye,
guys.
guys.
Have a good day. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye.